ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. On today's episode, we got quite a few news stories for you, and quite some big news stories as well. Not much on the new to streaming, and then we'll get to what we're watching, our fun little Mandalorian segment as well for Blakey there. And then our main review for the episode is going to be Die Hard, a classic, as some would say. Would you agree with that, Nathaniel?
I would think this ranks up there as a classic, without a doubt.
All right. Well, before we get to any of that, I am your host, Adam Schwartz, and joining me today is the Thankful Rev. I didn't change. Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, you are. It didn't get transferred over. Nutcracker Nathaniel.
There I am.
I'm sorry. I guess I didn't change it in the template that I have. And so when I got copied, it's, a whole thing. How are you doing, Nathaniel?
I'm just cracking these nuts, bro.
Ooh.
Just out here.
Yikes. That's a painful. That's a very painful image.
Yeah, well, it's whatever you got to do to bring the family together around the holidays.
I guess it is.
That's very true.
I guess
get everyone in the.
Imagine it being like one of those slow motion fatalities from Mortal Kombat. Yeah, and it's like slow motion, and then it shows like inside the dude's sack, and then it just like literally internally explodes because Nathaniel hit it.
Well, Tyler, I don't know if you remember, but did you ever play those Sniper Elite Warrior games?
No.
There was one, and these games have you play as a sniper. That's like the whole concept of this game is that you're just sniping people, basically.
That would make sense.
Yeah. And there are some slow-mo fatality kills that you're talking about where it does X-ray vision and slows down the bullet, and you see the path of the bullet go through the person, basically. Sure. Very graphic. One of these games was set during, I think the first 2 or 3 were set during like World War II. And there's a point in the game where you can shoot the single testicle of Adolf Hitler, and it shows the animation. If you get the bullet right, it shows the fatality animation and the X-ray vision of your bullet entering and exiting his testicle.
That's awesome.
What a fun Easter egg.
I guess Blake, you would know.
What's up?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I guess in one of the Mortal Kombat games, Johnny Cage's thing is like hitting somebody in the nuts. So is that like a slow-mo thing in there?
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
I don't know if it's a fatality in the newest one at MK11, but yeah, he definitely has like one of his special moves where he just like drops and punches you right in the nuts.
Got it. That makes sense.
So yeah, that's it. Pretty much a lot of that.
Also joining me today is Curbside Ty, which I might just change to the promoted one.
We got it. We got to change that. Yeah,
we got to change that.
Yeah, man. Head of Curbs.
Director of Curbside.
But yeah, Tyler recently got a promotion. Tyler, why don't you talk about that a little bit, man?
Spoiler alert. I recently got promoted to an assistant store manager at Best Buy. So, and it's
big time. Congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. So you've been at the company a while, of course.
Yeah, I think since 2014 was like one of my original hire dates. So
That's sad though, because now you're no longer the manager for me and Adam.
Dude, it's wild. I think I'm a pretty open book, and so I'm not afraid to wear my feelings on my sleeves. But when I found out and told Leah, I did it in like a very cute way for us, and then I probably cried for like 10 minutes. So
for sure.
I you guys know, but I bleed blue and yellow. So yeah, I love Best Buy. It's a great company, and so I'm very, very happy and thankful. So
yeah, man, it's very well deserved.
Well, I appreciate.
I'm gonna miss you though. I'm gonna miss you,
dude. That was part of the emotional part for me. I have like a family over at Schaumburg, and it's very different.
Yeah, that's where we all met.
Yeah. Luckily, we got this podcast rolling, so we can still
Exactly.
100%. Yeah. It's not like I'm going anywhere. I'll still be around.
Of course.
Yeah.
Until you move out in what was it? 6 months?
End of April.
Yikes. Yeah, well that's awesome, bro. But hopefully I'll be able to come over and join you if you got any open spots over there.
I'm not taking requests yet.
I've
had a couple people
I'm
ask,
just messing around.
But
you know who will still be with us at Schaumburg is Snowcat Blake himself, BlakeHolder.
Yes, sir. I'll still be there, fellas. What's going on?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Blake?
Good, man. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Finals week next week.
Down on you.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fantastic next 2 weeks here, but we'll get through them, of course, and then we're right into the holidays. So
for sure.
Yeah, can't complain too much. But let's get right into the show here, guys. With our news stories. Our first one today. I guess I'll start off with this. Should we go with the big one, the big Kahuna?
Okay, let it rip.
All right. Warner Bros. Smashes box office windows. Will send entire 2021 slate to HBO Max and theaters simultaneously. So for those of you who have not heard of this yet, but even though it's pretty big news, Warner Bros. Will send all of their movies straight to HBO Max the day that they release in theaters for 30 days on HBO Max. This includes 17 films that are set to release in 2021. I can read off a few of those here. The biggest ones being The Suicide Squad, The Matrix 4, Dune, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Space Jam: A New Legacy. But then there are quite a few other ones that will also be coming straight to HBO Max as well. But yeah, this is pretty big news. I don't know. I have two thoughts on this. One is, obviously, this is great for people like us who have HBO Max, who already subscribed to it, and who are just going to benefit from this directly. But at the same time, this is a real punch in the nuts to an already hurting theater industry that is trying to recover from the pandemic. Yeah. And so I have mixed emotions about this. I don't know. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? So obviously part of me feels for the movie theater industry, but I mean, this is almost the society we're going to, it's kind of like inevitable at this point where they'll be able to have some of these things where you can watch from home and things of that nature. It's going to be interesting to see some of those movies of that scale, though, not in a movie theater, and I think we're all movie theater people. So, I don't know, man. That was crazy. They're not at an extra price either, so if you already got HBO Max, they're just rolling to you. That's fucking big time, dude. That's a huge blow to Netflix and all those other guys.
Yeah, I think that's a interesting point, Blake, that you kind of end on there, is that now HBO Max is going to automatically have movies that are bigger than anything that Netflix has put out. Yeah, just from like a cost perspective. So we'll be able to see it's an interesting tack for them. I think it makes a lot of financial sense for them, I'm sure. Otherwise they wouldn't do this, but I think it's putting a whole year up like that is betting big. I'll be interesting to see afterwards kind of where it goes again. I don't know. I'm similar to kind of like Adam. I'm reticent in the end of two minds in a lot of ways. Just hoping that the theater industry still stays there and that there is still a kind of a enough of a audience for it that want to see it that way, that they can kind of go on and continue to move on and live on, I should say. But we'll see. I guess this is kind of like a long time coming in a lot of ways, it feels. So we'll kind of see where it goes from there, I'm sure.
I'm interested in more or less like what this deal looks like between Warner Brothers and HBO Max. I'm very curious as to what percentage Warner Bros. Takes.
Warner Bros. Owns HBO, so I know, but not.
Yeah, I guess that's
the
true.
business deal. The business deal that is the bigger question, I would say, is between Legendary and Warner Bros. Because there's actually been talk of Legendary potentially suing Warner Bros. For doing this, because a lot of the movies that I mentioned, or at least a few of them, like Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong were co-produced by Legendary. And they do that a lot. I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy, Legendary and Warner Bros. They work together a lot. But I guess they didn't consult Legendary before making this decision. And so Legendary is kind of, concerned about how they're going to make their money back. So rightfully so, I would say. So that's something that's been being talked about. They're currently in talks, but Legendary is thinking some legal action.
How do you not contact them?
I don't know. Apparently they just didn't say anything to him. So
someone got fired for sure.
Did any of you guys see what Christopher Nolan said about this? I mean, I just read that probably an hour ago.
Happy.
No,
yeah, I heard the same thing.
He had some big statements where, I mean, he basically went on record to say, and not a quote for quote, but he's basically going on record to say that like HBO Max is like the worst streaming service for them to be able to do something like this. But he also had a lot of strings pulled to get Tenet in the movie theater. And that was August, July, something like that. So I see where he's coming from, but yeah, he had some strong statements to say if anyone wants to look into that.
Listen, I do have a quote from Nolan. I just looked it up quick. He said, this is kind of reaction to the news. He said, "Oh, I mean, disbelief, especially the way in which they did it. There's such controversy around it because they didn't tell anyone. In 2021, they've got some of the top filmmakers in the world. They've got some of the biggest stars in the world who worked for years in some cases on these projects, very close to their hearts, and that are meant to be big screen experiences. They're meant to be out there for the widest possible audiences. And now they're being used as a lost leader for the streaming service, for the fledgling streaming service without any consultation. So there's a lot of controversy. It's very, 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 very messy. A real bait and switch. Yeah, it's sort of not how you treat filmmakers and stars or people who these guys have given a lot for these projects. They deserve to be consulted and spoken to about what was going to happen to their work."
Yeah,
brings up some good points. I would say.
Yeah.
I would say the place where I think he's a little wrong is the fledgling streaming service. I think streaming is taken over.
I think he's referring to HBO Max in particular. There,
I guess he says he says lost leader for the okay, yeah, I guess you're saying he's referring to that, but still, he brings up some valid points, and that was something I was going to ask you guys. Is, I mean, are you going to, I think guys like us, but I'll ask it anyway, are you going to go see, say, Dune in theaters when it's free on your TV? Like, would you pay to go see that?
Because
we're movie guys, we're movie theater guys, and me personally, I have a hard time saying I'm gonna go spend $20 or whatever it is at a movie theater to go see this movie when I'm already paying whatever amount it is a month for HBO, and I can get it for free. That's a tough question for me as a movie theater advocate. That's still something tough that I'm gonna have to go
for sure. And I think if anyone is likely to go to the movie theaters, like you're saying, it's people like us. Where I think the vast majority of people are just gonna be like, dude, screw that. I'm just gonna watch it at home.
Well, the problem I think is I don't think there's enough people like us to support movie theaters.
For sure.
At this day and age,
not in the way that they have been traditionally. I don't.
I was gonna say maybe this is where you start to see smaller theaters come back.
Yeah,
it caters to the people that pay for memberships like A-List, because we're obviously the people that don't mind paying for something. But I think this is also a pretty good alternative to the movies I don't necessarily think I would watch in theaters, but I'm still fairly interested in it. I would hate to. I will always take quality over anything, and if the difference, I've seen the difference between a movie that you see in theaters and a movie that you watch at home. Same movie, right? There's just totally different vibes. There's different feelings to it. And me on an emotional level, I would be very. I think I'm in theaters all day, as long as I really want to see the movie.
Yeah, I for a movie like Dune, per se, like I will probably still go and see that in theater, but for anything else that's not meant at that scale, like something like Wonder Woman, I wouldn't mind just watching on HBO.
Yeah.
Something like Godzilla vs. Monsters, that's something I should go and see in theaters, but that's not a movie I necessarily want to spend money to go see. And so if I'm getting it for free, it's like, if I'm getting that for free, why would I go spend money even though I should see it in theaters, why would I spend money to go do that? That's the tough part for me. And so that I think the fact that they're doing this for an entire next year, even if we get out of the pandemic, the fact that they've committed to this for the entirety of 2021 is really going to put a lot of pressure on the movie theater industry that are already struggling to get up and haven't really caught a break since this whole thing started.
Yeah, and I actually think I'm sure Nathaniel or Ty can correct me if I'm wrong. I actually think the AMC by us is closed now, right? Didn't they close back down when they hit that tier 3? That was maybe 2 weeks ago.
In Illinois, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I almost believe so. But yeah, big news for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And a new Godzilla movie, man. I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited for all those movies, and I'm glad that at least some people might check them out or watch them more than would have. Sure. But also, do you guys think these movies like that slate, I don't know how many subscriptions this is going to push.
Ooh, I mean,
like that's the other tough thing too.
Yeah, we've already kind of beat the dead horse in terms of Diddy V and like his commercial success. Yeah, I do think Dune's going to be a really good movie, but yeah, it's not Christopher Nolan's movie going to HBO Max. You know,
I could see potentially. I mean, yeah, this is the other thing I consider about this whole thing is say I don't have HBO Max and I want to see Dune. I could either spend $20 at the movie theater, or I could spend the $15 or whatever dollars a month. I don't even know how much HBO Max is, but I could spend the $15 a month, we'll say, and pay less, and I get a month of HBO Max.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I think that
makes it really tough.
I think that's what they're banking on. I don't know. For me, it's like it's not a question. I'll go and see it in a movie theater every time.
Right.
You know, if I want to see it in a movie theater, I will. If I don't, then I won't. But that's just kind of like the reality of what it is at the moment, regardless of how much we want it to be anything else or something like that. I think just overall pandemic has changed life, and this is another area of that. Yep. So you just kind of, figure it out and go on what the next one is.
That's true. You kind of just got to roll with it at a certain point. Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to our next news story here. But it's Oscar Isaac to star in Sony's Metal Gear Solid. So it looks like Oscar Isaac has officially signed on to play Solid Snake in a Metal Gear Solid movie. How familiar are you guys with the Metal Gear Solid franchise?
Oh, dude, I don't think I've played one since maybe the 4th or 3rd.
Yeah, I'm surface level at best.
Yeah,
I haven't played any. I'm just familiar with Snake mainly through.
I know it's insane. Like it's like
I don't think I've touched it since PS3.
Because I know that it's made by Hideo Kojima, who who's famously insane.
He's one of the most renowned game directors of all time.
Right.
So, it's an odd franchise, but I'd be interested to see what this movie turns out to be. I mainly know Snake from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and then he's in Ultimate as well. That's where I was first introduced to him when I was younger. I've since, I know of the Metal Gear Solid franchise. I know what it's about and stuff like that. But I'll be interested. I think I love Oscar Isaac in this role. I think he fits it really well.
I mean, yeah, he's one of those guys where like he could be like, I'm gonna play Barney the dinosaur, and I'd be like, fuck it, yeah, sign me up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much Oscar Isaac cast in, and then I'm like, okay, well, I hate that.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors today. Or newer actors, because he really didn't come onto the scene that much until Ex Machina was kind of like his breakout, you would say, and then Star Wars for Poe Dameron, and then he's kind of broken out since then. But he's definitely one of my favorite newer actors that's come about. So I'm excited for that. That'll be good. Yeah. So the new to streaming for this week was a little light, not a ton. That was worth mentioning here. So Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu didn't really have anything worth mentioning. HBO Max, you guys, I guess tonight, or I guess it was supposed to be last night. It was when it officially aired, but it was on HBO. It got put on HBO Max early last week on like Friday or something like that. But Euphoria, special episode for Euphoria, which is, I've mentioned before, like one of my favorite TV shows. I mentioned it during the TV show episode that we did at the beginning of the podcast when we first started. But yes. Euphoria, their second season the production got stopped because of COVID. And so they're releasing 2 special episodes that will stand alone on their own. And one is covering Rue, the main character, and then another one is covering Jules, her girlfriend, I guess you could say, even though it's a bit more complicated than that. But yeah, so the first episode came out, I guess, Sunday or last week. I did watch it. It was really good, actually. I'll get to that a little bit more in the what we're watching segment, though. And then that's it for HBO Max. Disney Plus has Ralph Breaks the Internet, and Mandalorian Chapter 15.
Have you seen that one, Tyler? Ralph Breaks the Internet?
Yes.
I have not.
I have not seen that. That's the second one, right?
It is the second one, yeah.
I haven't seen it either.
I've heard very mixed things. I've heard some.
It's okay. The first one's better.
For sure.
Thought you never hear that before.
I feel like we say that on every movie. The second one's good. The first one's usually better.
I mean, that's true this week too.
But yeah, there's actually just one scene in that movie in particular that always sticks out in my head is the little gumdrop girl. I forget her name all the time.
Vanellope.
Yeah, she goes into a room in the internet and it's just all the Disney princesses and they're acting like normal girls. They're like in sweatpants and they're like eating like bowls of candy and talking about like girl problems. It's really funny. So yeah, that's like the one thing that always sticks out in my head in that movie, but it's okay. It's whatever.
Is it worth a watch?
Sure.
Okay. Ring endorsement there from Curbside Time.
If you honestly have nothing else to do, sure.
Well, Nathaniel did mention before the podcast how he's running out of stuff to watch, so
true. Maybe that might be next.
Maybe it's next. Yeah, there you go. All right, so that'll be it for what we're watching, or sorry, for the new streaming.
Let's talk about what we're watching.
Do we want to do Mandalorian before or after, guys?
Right now.
All right, there we go. So for those of you who do not know or have missed an episode or two, our fellow host here, BlakeHolder, has never seen Star Wars, anything of Star Wars really. Oh, sorry, addendum. He's seen Force Awakens. Was that the one you've seen?
One.
I think. I don't even know which one it is. Yeah.
Okay. I think we deduced that it was
Force all of the wars.
So.
He's only seen one that took place in stars.
Yeah. Okay. So we've come up with a segment. It's going to be 2 lies and a truth about the Mandalorian every episode, and he has to pick out from these 3 lines or plot scenarios that happen which one is the truth and which 2 did not happen in Star Wars. So this is for chapters 13 to 14 then.
Yeah, I guess if you're following along at home, they were called the Jedi and then the Tragedy.
Yeah. Okay. So Nathaniel, why don't you read yours off first here? So the way this is going to work, we can explain a little bit. The way this is going to work this week is each of us, me, Tyler, and Nathaniel, we decided who was going to tell the truth for the 2 episodes that we're doing, and then the other 2 came up with the lies. So we're each going to read a line, and then of the 3 of us, Blake has to decide which one of us came up with the truth or gave him the truth. All right, go ahead, Nathaniel.
Yeah, so and spoilers for this, by the way, for Mandalorian. So if you don't want to go into any of those
small spoilers,
yeah,
small spoilers.
So the character of Ahsoka Tano, who was reintroduced to this episode, so she single-handedly destroys an entire town's early warning defense system. That's mine. So Ahsoka Tano single-handedly takes down an entire town's early warning defense system.
Okay. All
right. Tyler?
Yodeler, aka Grogu, rips someone in half with his powers, aka the Force.
And mine is Ahsoka, the person Nathaniel was talking about, taking out all the defenses. The Mandalorian actually fights her from inside his spaceship. He fights her with his spaceship, the Razor Crest, and she's a Jedi, obviously. So it's Jedi v Mandalorian.
So she has like the swords, right? The Jedi.
She's got the lightsabers. Swords. Yep.
That's tough. I was big on Baby Yoda last week, and I hit 2 for 2 on that, I think.
That's
Yodeler.
true.
So part of me wants to say him, but I don't know if he's strong enough to rip somebody in half. Because I remember last week he was just able to like levitate somebody's gun and bring it to him. So unless he's able to gain these powers that fast, he's a
quick learner.
He is, but he's also an alien, so it's possible.
Yeah, very alien to the point where we don't know his species' name.
Right.
Never been named.
I don't know, man. This is tough. I want. What was Nathaniel's? You said that one person took out.
Yeah, single-handedly destroys an entire town's early warning defense system.
I don't know. That seems like a lot of work. I think I'm gonna have to stick with Yodeler. I'm gonna have to stick with him. He hasn't steered me wrong yet.
Well, he steered you wrong this time.
He just did, you son of a bitch.
Basically, I will admit to some trickery there too. I think I was kind of working my way around that. There's their early warning defense system. It's one of those giant bells where just like everyone rings it like anytime they're like, oh, there's someone on the horizon, ring the bell.
Okay,
like,
right.
And she just goes up and cuts it in half. And I'm like, well, that's cool, Ahsoka, for like what you're doing, but you're also just fucked that town. Like it's all they had for like natural disasters and shit. Like now they just gotta do it by hand, I guess.
Gotcha. Yeah. When you were saying like the early warning defense systems, like what I was thinking was like
turrets and shit.
Yeah, like a giant wall with like turrets, like military stuff. And I'm like, I don't know.
And I mean, there was an element of that to that
powerful.
too.
There was.
Yeah.
That wasn't the only thing she took out. She didn't just take out the early warning defense system and dip. She kept going.
Did some battles.
Yeah, she did. All right, let's move on to, I guess, chapter 14, I think it would be.
It's called The Tragedy.
The Tragedy. I'll go first with mine, I guess. Yodeler, aka Grogu, as we did learn his name. Yodeler gets his hands on his first lightsaber, and in a shocking turn of events, he kills the Mandalorian.
Okay. Mando flamethrowers a squad of super assassin droids who are after Yodeler.
Grogu is so powerful, he creates an impenetrable force field that Mando cannot get through.
Can I get Adams again?
Sure. Yodeler, aka Grogu, gets his hands on his first lightsaber, and in a shocking turn of events, kills the Mandalorian.
Okay, I don't think so, because now the Mandalorian, that's like the main character, right?
I mean, it's called The Mandalorian.
Okay. So I don't think
that's why it was such a shocking turn of events.
Yeah, I don't think that's flying. Can I get Tyler's again?
Grogu is so powerful, he creates an impenetrable force field that Mando cannot get through.
And who is Grogu?
Grogu's Yodeler.
We found out his name on the episode, the last episode.
For sure. Okay.
Like 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think he kills the Mandalorian. Unless this is the last season of the last episode of the season. It's a lot of variables.
It is not.
It's not.
It's not? Okay, then
it is not.
I don't believe that's what happened. I believe he puts up the force field.
All right.
Is that correct?
It is.
Correct.
There you go.
Some deductive reathing.
You don't think you would have killed the main character, man? That would have been one shocking turn of events.
It would have, but I don't think Star Wars is writing like
all
that.
The like,
I think too many people would be
answers. Like I was on board with it, like where he's like he gets his first lightsaber, but then he's like, oh, he kills the main character.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. I was like,
a little too many movies for that.
I probably should have changed it to not the Mandalorian, but yeah, I thought the first half of that was like cool. I was like, who does he kill? The Mandalorian. Oh well, 1 for 2 tonight, Blake. I believe that makes you 4 for 6,
3 for
5. 3 for 5.
Well, we did 4. How many did we do? No, we did 4 last week.
I think we actually did a repeat of another episode. So
did we?
whatever. Yeah.
Oh,
I think we did 4 last week, but oh well.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we only did 3 last week.
So I'm 3 for 6. I'm
man.
shooting 50% from the field.
Hey man, it's better than 49%.
You're right.
All right, what we're watching, guys. What have you guys been getting into? Nathaniel, Ty, you guys want to start us off here?
Yeah. So I watched Euphoria.
Okay.
All of it.
You did text me. It was
yesterday.
not enthusiastic. I was a little heartbroken.
Yeah. Well, I struggled because I know it is so near and dear to your heart, but I really truly think it's just too young for me. Like I think I'm too old for this show.
I totally understand that.
Not even from like a or anything like that, but like I have seen this show before.
I'm sorry, you cut out for a sec. What'd you say?
Yeah, I said not even from like this is shocking for like or like what are these kids up to or anything like that, but like I've just seen this show before. Like I feel like every generation has a version of this show that comes out that is like real and in your face, and like everyone is like talking about it, and it tells teens how teens really are and that kind of thing. So I think for that, I like how it's shot. I like the characters are on it.
That's what I was about to say. Can you at least give me that kind of stuff? I think it's shot amazing. I think the music's really good.
I think it's shot really well. I think the aesthetic I get a little bit tired of towards the end of the season, but that could also have been because I did binge all of it, kind of like.
Oh, you did finish all of it. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get to the newest episodes the ones that you were actually talking about.
It's just one. It's just one. I mean, are you going to go any further with it?
I don't know. Honestly, I think maybe if I take a break from it for a little while. I think I just again, it's not one of those things even where I'm like I have that many issues with it academically or like quality wise. It's just like it's not a story that I find particularly interesting at this point in my life, or one that like like I just don't really want to spend a ton of time with it. Like I can't see myself too much going back to it too often. I'm interested in to hear like what people's reactions are to it from like your generation in particular. And in terms of like not necessarily accuracy, but just like which characters are popular and which ones aren't, and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, if you like Zendaya or anything like that, or you are interested in that in kind of those more dramatic teen shows, it's definitely that. It's a really good example of that. But that's not one I think that I'm going to be coming back to anytime soon. I think.
Okay.
We'll see them.
And I think all those criticisms are totally fair. It is a very stylized show, and it definitely caters more to someone my age and towards my generation. For sure. So I totally understand those criticisms. I appreciate that you can appreciate how it's shot, because I think that's one of the best things about the show is the colors and the directing and stuff. I think, and I also like the way they tell the story. I don't know how you felt about that. How sometimes they'll do little cuts or sidebars and stuff. How Zendaya will go on a little bit of a tangent. I like that personally.
I found that really inconsistent. For me, like it was like there's one episode where she does like almost all like a whole cop bit, and I was like, nothing in this show prior to this prepared me for this tone shift.
So the reason for that is that episode is centered around a time where, because Rue has got a lot of mental health issues as the main character, along with some drug abuse issues, of course. But that episode is when she's talking about being bipolar, I believe. And so bipolar it's either bipolar or has some kind of form of bipolar depression as well. So to me, that episode was that kind of feeling of being that bipolar. She would go off on these random tangents and would feel incredible, like she's some kind of beat cop that's cracking the case and stuff. But then you also saw her crash as well in that episode. So that hopefully that explains a little bit of where that came from.
No, I get that, and I get the thought process behind it and stuff, but it just felt really inconsistent with its own rules that it had set up, in that like she has like a costume change,
Yeah.
and like and
No, I know what you're saying. It did feel a little. I agree with you that it felt a little weird as far as how they handled it.
well, yeah,
That's
yeah, not
per
even that.
se.
It's just like it felt unexpected.
Yeah.
That it
Okay.
became very fourth wall breaking and very kind of again like this kind of theme thing. So it
Okay.
wasn't again, it wasn't like necessarily bad, or it wasn't. It's not like it was shot. It wasn't shot competently or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's not what I was
But
trying to say. But
I think it was just tonally it felt a little strange to me
okay.
and everything like that. Yeah, I don't know, kind of a thorny one for me. It's I like in that I like almost everything that they're going for and kind of the story that they're telling. Particularly, I think the Jules character is great. She's really really awesome. Um, a lot of the supporting cast I think is really really good too. Um, but it's just I think a little bit. I'm just a little bit past that style of story at
Sure.
this point in
Sure.
my life.
I mean, yeah, that's totally fair.
But yeah,
Uh,
it's cool to check out though.
So yeah, I mean, I can get into that special episode really quick. I don't really want to double up on Euphoria. But the special episode, if you're interested in it, is if you remember the Ali character who
Mhm.
sponsors her at the NA meetings that she goes
Yeah.
to. The entire episode is Rue and Ali sitting in a diner just having a conversation.
Sure.
And so I thought it was just a great foray in writing, really, because they just kind of go back and forth with some longer monologues. And Ali is a character that I really wanted to see more of after the
Mhm.
first season, and I'm glad that I got more of him right away. And I hope they continue that trend going into the second season. But you learn more about Ali, and he gives some advice to Rue, of course, and they kind of just talk about really life in general. And a lot of different topics, but like I said, it's just long monologues, some great writing, and it was a very unique episode. You don't often see an hour-long piece where it is just two characters talking, so it was kind
Sure.
of unique to see.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that is something I think this show needs to be really careful about, because they're not careful. Like they need, in my opinion, they need to like end this show second season. Like, because
yeah,
there is too much melodrama around this whole thing for it to just continue on to like 5
sure.
seasons.
I
Like that.
really hope. Yeah, I agree with you. I really hope they don't drag this out longer than it has to. Or if they want to continue with this show, I hope they switch characters and locations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean
That would be the only other
the
option.
show that this reminds me most of was a show called Skins that came out in like mid thousands. That was a British show that's basically what it did. It was 2 years with a crew, and then the next one was 2 years, and it was like
Okay,
it was like their younger siblings, or like a different school or something like
gotcha.
that. But yeah, that's something they could do maybe. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm glad at least you checked it out. I'm glad you finished it, because when you texted me I think it was early afternoon, you didn't seem too hot at it, and I was concerned you weren't going to finish it out. But I'm glad you stuck with it.
Yeah, no, I think I was always gonna finish it. I knew it was important to you, so I
I
was
appreciate
definitely
that.
gonna finish it all and kind of see where it went. And I think it is a show that gets better as it goes, or at least it's
Yeah.
really good at it kind of keeping you interested. But
Mhm.
for me, just kind of overall fell down a little bit
Sure.
in the grand scheme of things.
Now, did you like it overall though, or would you like where would you rate this, man? Would you recommend it? I'm just trying to get a vibe of where you're at, because you're saying some good things, you're saying some bad things. I'm just trying to get a sense of if you liked it overall, or maybe
Yeah,
it's okay.
I think for me it's an okay. It's
Okay.
definitely an okay. I think
Okay.
like it, and again, it's not even so much a storytelling thing, or like a thing, or like anything like that, but like I think for me personally, there are story choices and storytelling styles that I'm just kind of like, well, like that is my least favorite way of doing that, or like that's
Okay.
and there are other shows I prefer to this, like Sex Education on Netflix is still a very kind of what always begins, like it, which again was a very similar topic, kind of area of life. Seeing those other stuff.
Okay, fair. That's all very fair. What else did you get into? I know we talked a very long time about that.
I know. I knew this kind of destined for that. Tyler and I caught up on My Hero, so we're completely done with that now. I don't know if we said that last week, but
we did not.
But yeah, because that was the day we found out you got promoted, and then we went immediately into that. So it was two very emotional days, right back to back.
Yeah.
But that was incredible. Sorry, I decided to take a drink right in the middle of that. Yeah, that's a show that I've has shot up on my board in terms of just like personal favorites and that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll I'll let Tyler talk a little bit more about that. But I think it's really good. And then I've also been because we finished that, I've been kind of keeping an eye or checking in every now and then with Cowboy Bebop and kind of advancing a little bit further with that. So I also watched some of that. And I don't think I had anything like anything else separate from like that I watched on my own or anything like that. Like I said, I am in kind of a movie hole or a show hole right now. I don't really have a new thing that I'm obsessed with at the moment. I'd like to get back to more movies. I feel like I've been watching a lot of shows, but just haven't been any movies out recently. So
yeah, I'm with you there, man. I go back and forth between movies and shows and what I want to watch all the time.
Yeah.
Ty, is there anything else you watched on your
own? Leah and I are still doing Friends. Like I said, I'm not gonna really touch on that. I'm just gonna mention that we keep going.
Sure.
We finished The Boys season 1. So that was really great for Leah to see. And
I always get around to watching those.
I always love watching like new shows that people haven't seen, even though I've seen them. It's you get to watch more of their reactions, and it's a lot more fun. And I just remember her at the end of it, season 1, just going like, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck," and she is not a person that constantly cusses. So when she does, it's very comedic for me.
It's comedic for me just knowing Leah, the relatively small amount that I know her. I know what you're talking about, and that's very funny.
Yeah. So yeah, it kills me every time, and her reactions were just absolutely phenomenal. Nathaniel is missing one. He's not currently sitting here, so I'll come back to it. My Hero season 4 was incredible. I haven't seen something that's captivated me that much in a while. And the progression of, I wouldn't say the progression, I'd more say the character arcs of some characters, almost all of them, because they do such a good job at hitting on every single character, but not like delving in too deep. But the main pinnacle characters of the show are kind of, you're seeing their character arcs, and they're absolutely ridiculous on how cool they've been doing.
Yeah, that show does. We talked about it a little bit back last week, but that show does backstory better than just about anyone out there. And like, I think too, it's the music. Like they have just such a tight hold on music genre and like how them playing certain notes and certain styling will make you feel a certain way, and how deeply ingrained within superhero movies those little kind of riffs and notes, melodies are. Yeah.
Yeah, it just continues to blow me away, and I'm very excited about it pretty constantly. I did a super nerdy thing, and I just had to preview the Fellowship on 4K while I was like picking up the apartment.
This has gotten me so excited for these now, though. Like, low-key,
Yeah.
I really want to watch all of them.
Wait for me, man. Wait for me to come back.
Yeah, bro. I'm.
So tell the
absolutely
listeners, Tyler, because we talked about last week how we should binge when I'm home for break, all 3 in one day. But you want
I'm so like overly down for this, and if Blake wants to come, obviously he's in. I know Justin is in. He's
All
a
right.
pretty
might have to
sizable Lord of the Rings fan, so like I'm totally down for having like a fucking full blown watch party at the
Sure.
house.
Sure.
But you went out and got the 4K box set, right?
Yeah, did I tell you guys about? I don't know if we.
I was. That's what I was saying. I mentioned for the listeners why we're talking again about Lord of the Rings back to back.
So yeah, the 4K box set came out for the extended edition, so you get the extended edition and the theatrical edition, all in 4K, and then you also get the digital version, and you also get a replica ring in there, which I did not know, and I was very hyped about. Clearly, I still am. But yeah, I got a really really awesome deal on it because one of the guys at work is also a fellow Lord of the Rings nut, and he chipped in, so he got the digital versions, and I kept the physical versions, and yeah, I'm in love. It was worth every single penny, and I would do it over and over and over again.
Nice, man.
Yeah, and then
what was
the one. Hold on,
Yeah.
I was gonna say the one thing that Nathaniel missed on his list that I didn't want to say without him here. He was watching George of the Jungle, and I probably got like, I don't know if I was at work or something, but I jumped in probably like maybe 20 minutes already in, so I finished it with him, and so did Leah, and it was definitely a throwback.
Yeah, I talked last week about how we watched Muppet Treasure Island as a kid, and I think I might have told this story. As a kid, when my brother was coming around, my parents were telling me was having a brother, and I told them that they had 2 options for names, one of which was Long John Silver, the other was George of the Jungle. So did Muppet Treasure Island last week. Needed to finish off the combination with George of the Jungle this week. One thing I did want to say, circling back to Euphoria one more time, I think I've kind of come to a head of it. I enjoyed my watch of it because I was in a place where I was like extremely hungover and like in the mood for trashy melodramatic TV, and it provided that itch perfectly.
Okay.
But if I wasn't in that place, I wouldn't recommend it, I don't think.
Sure. Okay. So only if you're hungover is what you're saying.
It's a great hungover Saturday watch. Yes.
All right. That's fair as well. Is that a tie, Nathaniel?
I believe so.
Blake, why don't you give us? You already told us before pod what you got into, but why don't you give us what we're watching here?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'll try to keep it brief here. I mean, I had a long week, man, so I only got the 2 movies. I did end up watching Deadpool 1 and 2. I think I watched the first one, I think on Wednesday, the second one on Thursday, I believe. And those were actually it's the 3rd time I've seen the first one. It's actually the 2nd time I've seen the second one. I haven't seen the second one since I saw it in theaters. But yeah, those are funny. Ryan Reynolds is, I don't think you can cast a better Deadpool, just off the top of my head. Yeah, I like them both, man. They even got some of the X-Men cameos and things of that nature in there, and they did it well. And I think they're actually trying to do a 3rd one, right? Can anybody correct me on that? Or
yeah, I think those movies don't cost a lot and they print money, so
yeah.
I haven't seen either of them. I really need to get around to it.
Really?
Oh, really? That's
because
that's
when you think about when they both came out,
were you just under the age?
Yeah, my parents. I remember my parents didn't want me to see the first one when they came out. I don't know when that one was.
I think the first one's 16. Yeah,
2016. So my parents, for some reason, wouldn't let me go see that, and I never really got around to seeing it on my own. And then Deadpool 2 came out, and I just never wanted to see that because I didn't see the first one. So I obviously I can go watch them now, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
I saw Deadpool, I think, on like the day it released, and I've never been in a worse smelling theater. Like it was just all like just sweaty, overweight dudes, like just laughing along to like every like "look at my balls" joke there was.
That's all that movie is.
Yeah. And like it's fine, it's great. I love it. It knows exactly what it is, and it takes it out. But when the new one comes out, maybe wait a day or two before going to hit the theater with your lady friend or something like that. Otherwise, it's a little gym locker roomish.
Yeah, that's like one big bro movie, and like
100%.
Ryan Reynolds is like the biggest bro you can find, and it's just funny, man. They got some one-liners in there that are funny in the first one as well as the second one. The second one has a really funny Brad Pitt cameo where he's like the invisible guy.
That's probably the single funniest bit of that whole movie for me.
Yeah, for sure.
The X-Force fight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Then even the first one's got the really good scene, the opening segment where they're on the highway. And it kind of cuts and he's speaking in third person. He's like, my boyfriend was going to be a superhero movie, but that guy just turned that guy into a fucking kebab. That line makes me laugh every time, man. That was my at the time, that was like my girlfriend's reaction too. Like there was really no way to describe the movie. I was like, it's a superhero movie, She's like, okay, cool. And then we go there and she's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, that's all I got, two fellas.
Sure. I felt like I watched more than I have down on my list, but
Is this because you watched Your Name another 4 times?
I really wanted to watch it another 4 times, but my girlfriend won't let me, so she just doesn't want to watch it again. And I'm like, okay, I can't be mad at that. She at least tried it the first time. She doesn't like anime, so she at least tried it the first time. I had to, I can't just force her to watch it again and again. I will be rewatching that in the near future for sure. That movie is just it's so good. I need to watch Weathering with You, which is the sequel or follow up, I would say, not sequel. But I texted Nathaniel. I told him I think Your Name is creeping up on my top 10 as I think more and more about it. It was that good to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big call, man.
Yeah, it's a big call, but I would be okay with making it.
Hey,
we'll get back to you. We'll get back to you, listeners. I'll think on it more. Maybe watch another time and see how I feel.
Maybe we'll do a year-end update list.
Yeah, sure. But I did get into more Queen's Gambit. I believe I watched 2 episodes, so I'm on episode 7. I'm getting there.
Okay.
But started that a while ago and then fell off on it, so I'm back on it. I want to finish it. And then watched quite a bit of Bachelor in Paradise with my girlfriend this weekend. I'm being forced to watch it, and I will never put it on my own volition. But while it's on, I'm into it, man. I'm gonna say it. I'm into it. It's got some kind of entertainment value to it that just makes me simultaneously cringe, laugh, and also be super into it.
Hey man, it's the modern day melodrama. There are
it
roles
really
every season. There are people that fit those roles. What's great is that everyone knows the show though too. Like no one is surprised.
No one is pretending anymore.
Yeah, but we all.
I feel like people used to take it way more seriously than they do now. But everyone knows.
Everyone recognizes that it is, a scripted entertainment or even, written entertainment, but it is still entertainment. So, this is just the next level in that thing. It's also, you can take a weird academic bend to reality TV for sure.
Yeah. And then last thing I guess I'm into, if you want to count this, but Mizzou's been playing some sports lately, guys. Mizzou football and basketball just came back as well. Had a big win over Arkansas. I don't know if you guys saw anything on Twitter, if you guys do college sports highlights or anything, but Arkansas in the last, I think they had 45 seconds on the clock. They score with 50 seconds left? I think they scored a touchdown, and then it was 42-43, I believe. And they went for the extra or the 2-point conversion instead of the extra point to then go ahead 44-43. The ball was tipped in the end zone by a Mizzou player, almost intercepted, and then it is tipped and then caught by another Arkansas player. So then they go up, and with 43 seconds left, Mizzou, do what we do, and got down to I believe it was like 15-yard line and kicked a field goal, and we won. So we're 5-3 now, I believe. And then basketball has been killing it as well. We beat Oregon, some random school I've never heard of, and then just beat who do we just beat? Wichita State. So,
ooh, they're pretty good at basketball.
Yeah,
I'm kind of with you on the college sports. So yeah, I actually think I did watch some of that. The
highlight
Arkansas game.
Yeah. It was a great game all the way through. Apparently, it was our largest fourth quarter comeback in school history. I think we were down like 26 to 40 or something like that, or 36 or something like that. So I don't know. It was a great game, good win for us because that's our rivalry in the SEC since we moved from the Big 12 to the SEC. But we've won now 5 in a row against Arkansas, so no big deal.
Lit.
Yeah. Well, we're running into this podcast, guys. It looks like it's about time for our main segment.
Oh boy, God, that snuck up on me there.
I know, man. I know, but we are just about an hour in here, so it's a good time to start it out. Hopefully, get through this quick, and then we'll get on our way. But Nathaniel, for the listeners out there who have never listened before or have had some sort of amnesia, can you give them a rundown of our review segment here on Back Row Banter?
Yeah, what's up, guys? So this is how the review segments work around here. Basically, the segment is split into 2 different sections. One is the spoiler section, one is the non-spoiler section. What we do in the non-spoiler section is break down what the basic plot summary is, kind of tell you who made the movie, when it came out, what's going on with it, everything with that. We'll give our initial kind of thoughts on it, all without going into spoilers. Then we'll decide amongst each and every one of us if we would recommend the movie. Got to be yes or a no. Can't be anything in between. And then we'll go full spoilers from that point out. We'll let you know, make sure you know that we're going to be spoiling the hell out of it. Give our deeper thoughts on the movie, and then kind of go just a little bit further into what we may think is a significant point or an interesting thought. And then we'll welcome everyone back who may not have wanted to listen to the rest of that part, and then see where it ranks on the Entropy list, which is our listing of all the movies we've reviewed on the podcast so far. And then we'll get on out of here. So without further ado, let's talk about this week's movie. So we are talking Die Hard, 1988.
Hard.
Die Hard. Or in its German title, The Hard.
Okay.
Was this your first time, Adam?
This was my first time watching all the way through.
So
I
could see that.
I've
for
seen
sure.
I can also
here
see
and
that.
there. But yeah, first time all the way through. I just never really sat down to watch it. So yeah. Nathaniel, why don't you give the IMDb summary here before we get into it?
Yeah, of course. So this one came out in 1988, like we were saying. It's directed by John McTiernan, which a lot of people may know from a lot of those kind of 80s action thrillers. I'm pretty sure he is Predator as well, I want to say. Yep, Predator.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and some other ones that people would know as well. Last Action Hero, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, Hunt for Red October. Starring old Brucey Willis as kind of, I think this is more or less one of his main breakout roles, if not his main breakout role. I know he's doing mostly TV at this point in his career. But John McClane. So yeah, the IMDb summary goes like this. An NYPD officer tries to save his wife and several others taken hostage by German terrorists during a Christmas party at the Nakatomi Plaza in Los Angeles. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much...
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Looking at Bruce Willis's IMDb here, it does look like this is pretty much his breakout role. I haven't heard of anything before this movie that he's done.
For sure. Yeah.
So
I mean, this is like everyone's dad's favorite movie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is one of those ones that, like, when you think 80s action, this is one of those big ones that's always up there, to the point that there's always like almost its own subgenre now, which is like Die Hard on a plane, or Die Hard in a train, or
the hostage takeover, like the hostage takeover movie.
Yeah, and man's regular man has to go beyond his limits to try and take down the evil German terrorists.
So this is something I was going to ask during
the week
or later on, but I guess I can just ask now. So I've seen this concept play out in other movies since then. Was this the first one to really do that, though? The whole hostage takeover thing?
I would say first that is
this popular and this big.
Okay.
pop culture, or like the first to reach the heights.
Okay.
Because this is an iconic piece of pop culture at this point.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. It's a great concept. I love the concept of this style of movie.
And I will say,
even though I fortress up a tower kind of thing.
And I will say, like I said, I've seen this since then in other or other spin-off like movies that have basically done this concept. But this one probably does it the best still. I haven't really seen a hostage takeover movie that I felt was better than Die Hard. So it has stood the test of time in that regard.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I can get into my thoughts here since I was the first one. This is my first viewing, but
take it away.
I liked it a lot. I could definitely see why this is kind of a cult classic, if you will. But it was good. Not like a top 10 movie or anything for me, but definitely like one that I'll be more inclined to revisit every Christmas or something like that. Because let's be honest, after watching this movie and hearing the whole debate of is Die Hard a Christmas movie, it is 100% a Christmas movie.
Yeah,
I've decided.
For sure.
So this might be one
this week. It certainly like goes back on a list of like, why have I not been watching this every Christmas? Just because it takes place on Christmas, But yeah, I like it, man. It's it actually holds up really well. It's one of those movies that like when you see the release title and you realize it's 1988, you're like, holy shit. It actually holds up really well for being a 1988 film. Like you would think this thing was made in like a 95 or 96 or something like that, So it's definitely ahead of its time. I like it. Yeah, I can't say anything less about it. Great action flick. Got explosions, guns, hand-to-hand combat. What else can you ask for?
I like the idea of just Blake listing action movie tropes.
Right.
Guns.
That's all I need.
Explosions. Hand-to-hand combat. A motorcycle chase.
Right. Yeah, it's got all that.
Some sort of Eastern European villain.
Who's already rich.
Right.
Yeah, it almost it's almost like rewatching Tenet.
A little bit.
No, hilarious.
A little bit.
Which I'll bring up a funny point later. What were we watching that I brought that up?
Wasn't it? It was just like earlier today. Was it? It was Mando. It was Mando.
Well, it was Mandalorian. All right, yeah, never mind. We'll circle back if we have time. If I got to fill.
Yeah, well, it's kind of spoilery too, so we won't talk about it.
I guess it's true. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a problem with this movie in that I have seen this movie so many times, and it has reached such a comfort level in my heart that the last 2 times I've attempted to watch this movie, I have fallen asleep in the second half of it, and I don't know why. Like, it's very upsetting to me because I very rarely fall asleep in movies. Like, it's happened 2 or 3 times in my life, and 2 of those times are occupied by this movie. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with me and my relationship to this film, but I guess it's just it's etched into my DNA like that I'm just comfortable with it. But it's great. I mean, what are you gonna say? It's Die Hard. Like I get what Adam's saying in that, like, and I think this is a function of the, like, it has been aped so many times that the John McClane character almost feels a little bit too, and because that character has become our prototype action character for every movie from $40 million Liam Neeson European like action films all the way up to the $150 million action epics. The guy that has to step up, who's punching just above his weight class or something like that, it has become this kind of iconic hero. So I think maybe there is a little bit of like growing up seeing it parodied or seeing it homaged so many times has kind of lessened the impact of the original too a little bit. But that's just a guess. Who knows? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with that a little bit. I don't know. It's a great movie. I would say it was great, but you're right. I think it's just there's something about it that at this point lacks originality from my point of view, but that's
Sure.
but I understand that it's just my point of view. Like when this came out, I'm sure
it may also be similar to kind of like what I was talking about with Euphoria earlier. Is that
yeah.
It's like we've seen this story. At some point, you get told this story through your adulthood, your journey through life, whether that's earlier or later. Or
for me, in my generation, my hostage takeover movie was Paul Blart. Actually, fantastic.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Fantastic. Some would say also cult classic.
But I mean, like you think of like Green Room, which is like a kind of a spin on this as well, or like you're The Raids or Dread or something like that. There are really good versions of this script out there. But you're right, I think too, in that like this is like it at its most streamlined and pure in some ways. And I think John McTiernan is a really good director. He knows what he's doing with his cast. I like, I'm happy. I'm not actually happy. I'm sad we don't get these kind of like well acted, well shot, not light, but like it doesn't take itself too seriously R-rated action movies. We don't really get these anymore. It's always like this has been replaced by the
John Wick.
Marvel. Well, yeah, your John Wicks, but also like your Marvel movies and that kind of thing too. There's only so many slots for big budget movies in the world, and when so many of those are already taken up by the newest, sequel or thirdquel or threequel or whatever of another particular franchise, it does get, you miss out on these kind of things these days. So, but Tyler, tell us your thoughts.
I think it's great. This movie's fucking 80s.
It's fucking Die Hard, right?
It's 80s, bro. Like there's so many like little things too that are really cool that the movie does because of when it was made. But
booby.
I can mention those later. I think like the thing that you guys have already hit on is like the best way to explain this is Bruce Willis is a fucking action hero, right?
For sure.
And you just
but he's not at the start,
right? Which is great, and that's kind of cool how you see the progression. But like it's like Nathaniel said, we miss out on these movies, and these have been kind of the bigger things. I think the closest thing that we've seen to this, without it being like a hostage scenario, but more of like an action hero kind of movie, was like Deadpool. It's
Logan.
It's rated R, and it's gritty, but it's still like got the one-liners. It's funny. So yeah, I miss these movies. I'm glad I watched it. I haven't watched it in a while. You guys already brought up one of my main points is, do you think this is a Christmas movie or not? Which is a hot take amongst every person who's ever seen this movie ever. But
what side are you on? Your Christmas movie side?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, fuck it. Like, why would you not let this be a Christmas movie? I think that's such a like.
What really seals in the deal for me is when Hans Gruber starts humming A Christmas Carol. That's when I was like,
yeah, but like,
this is it.
There's nothing saying that it can't be a Christmas movie, except just
True.
mean old people. Like, whatever. Let Christmas movies be more than just sad children and like.
Yeah,
spending your last money on
sometimes
a gift for someone else.
Sometimes Christmas can be about blowing shit up, man.
That's right. Sometimes Christmas can be about blowing shit up.
Amen. All right. Blake, you already talked, right? Or do we need to get over to you? Okay.
I did. I don't think we went down the recommend.
We haven't done that.
I think we already kind of
Yeah, I'm a recommend.
But yeah,
Blake,
recommend for sure.
Time, yeah,
100% all in.
and Nathaniel, I'm assuming.
Yeah, recommend, but like have like a pot of coffee or something like around if I'm gonna be there too. Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on with this movie and me
man.
for some reason.
That's funny, man. All right, so we're gonna head into the spoiler section of the podcast here. So if you do not want Die Hard spoiled for you,
Yeah, do we even go into the plot?
No,
yeah, do we need to?
We didn't really.
I don't know.
No,
if
go
we
ahead.
need to.
Some
but,
Germans take over the tower.
Exactly. So if you don't want Die Hard spoiled for you, go ahead and check the episode description where I will post the timestamp to go to, which will bring you to our entropy list, the ranking upon our entropy list. So yeah, without further ado, Nathaniel, why don't you go ahead and fill in the plot here? I guess I would say fill it in, but I guess give us the plot now since we haven't really gone over it yet.
Not Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise. Bruce Willis is
this movie if it's
Tom Hanks
in this movie.
Be interesting.
I could see Tom Cruise doing this though, like in 2007.
100%. Yeah. I want Tom Hanks to do this, but I want Bruce Willis to have to do Big instead.
That's actually that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, so Bruce Willis is visiting his wife, who has taken a job working for the Nakatomi company in Los Angeles. They're having their Christmas party at Nakatomi Plaza. He's an NYPD cop who, just cares too much, and he's come to visit the family. At the same time, Hans Gruber, who played by the inimitable Alan Rickman, has taken over the building and is now holding it hostage for ransom. I don't know. The plot moves around actually 3 or 4 times. First, it's like it's for reasons, and then it's not for reasons, and then it's money.
No, I felt like it was for money for the most part. Yeah, when they first talked to
he builds it up under like, oh, it's for a cause or something like that first.
And then, then you start thinking like maybe it's like a WMD or
gotcha.
Okay. But yeah, and so John McClane pulls it out in the end, gets to do a yippee-ki-yay motherfucker and ride off into the sunset. What more do you need to know? You've seen Die Hard if you're at this point.
Spoilers now. Yeah. Anyway, all time, anytime.
Yeah. I guess I'll start off again. This movie, is really fucking good. That yippee-ki-yay motherfucker.
Great.
It's a great line, and I love how
80s line.
But it still holds up, man. I was still like, man.
I think what they do here is they absolutely nail the villain, and they absolutely nail the hero. And like anything else, like plot is kind of inconsequential, really.
And I love how they build a relationship between the two, because they keep talking to each other, and then you kind of like they kind of build this rapport a little bit, and then they come face to face, and it's not apparent right away, but then Bruce Willis figures it out, obviously, and then it's like, oh shit. So
no one's treated as dumb. The audience in particular isn't either. So when like they kind of figure it out, you figure it out with them. It's not spelled out for you, basically. Great supporting cast. Reginald VelJohnson, obviously, is
Sergeant Al Powell.
Yep,
he's great. I loved him. And then it's his ranking officer, the director of like LAPD or something, is Paul Gleason, and he's great too. I recognize him from quite a few things, but he was really good in it too.
It's a great movie. I mean, people always remember the glass, the feet on the glass, the ho ho ho. I have a machine gun.
Yeah, like that part was great.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah.
Booby.
Still my favorite line.
What's the joint when he's calling the police on the air? He's like, "You think I'm ordering a fucking pizza?" Or something like that. That line gets me too. Yeah.
There are a lot of great lines.
For sure. What's the other one when he's in the vent and he has the lighter like where he's trying to see an event. What does he say? Because he's like,
man, what does he say?
Because he's mocking his wife, right? He's like, oh, like she's like, oh, come to LA, have a few drinks or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that. What did he
yeah,
say? Yeah.
He's like, it's a casual Christmas party or something. Like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
So, Adam, do you think you'll go on and watch the other ones now?
I don't really think so. I don't want to ruin this first one for me, and because I know the sequels aren't great.
I would say get at least to 3 because 3 is excellent.
Really? Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's where they introduced Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, okay. How many are there?
I think like 6.
Yeah, I remember because I remember even a few years ago there was a new
one. Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and then I think it's A Good Day to Die Hard. So I think there's 5.
Okay.
Oh wow, I don't even.
One of them came out in like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah, that one's not good.
I heard. Yeah. That. Oh, I remember. It looks
bad. 2 I think is not great. 3 is good. 4 is okay. That was in the era of when they tried to make R-rated things PG-13 for a little while and just make sequels to them. And then they did the last one, which was bad.
Oh, there we go. He's out.
We lost him every time.
Yeah, we lost it. Yeah, every time, man. Like clockwork. It's just a matter. It's not a matter of if at this point. It's just a matter of when Nathaniel will accidentally leave the Discord. While Nathaniel's reconnecting, Blake, why don't you give us a little bit of your thoughts here?
He's back.
Yeah. Okay,
well,
go ahead.
Back.
Go ahead, Nathaniel. You got it.
No, he's still muted and stuff. I think. Just go. You go ahead, Blake. Nathaniel's talked enough anyway.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. So I like it, man. Like I said, it's got a few one-liners. I mean, the action in this is really good. I like the and kind of the more I've watched it as an adult, I'm just kind of able to dissect movies differently after doing this podcast. But even some things I've kind of taken away from here is I like the plot, right? So obviously Holly, that's his wife. You can tell they're going through some
marital
right.
troubles.
Correct, right? Where she even puts down the picture or the photo that she has of him, right? When she turns and looks at it, she's stressed, she puts it down. You fast forward maybe an hour into the movie, and you have the villain. Let me pull his name up really quick.
Hans Gruber.
Correct. So then you have correct. So you have the villain come in, right? And he's kind of sitting there, and that's when she goes in for the like, hey, we have a pregnant lady out here. Like, I'd like to bring her into one of these rooms, like for a couch. And he's like, okay, well, how about we just bring the couch over to her? You know, then she kind of like cuts her eye to the left to like look at the photos, and he even kind of turns around and looks, but she already put the photo down that has Bruce Willis's or John McClane's face on it. She's put that photo down, and that's just something where they weren't even aware of who John McClane was, right? Just something like that, that scene really stuck up to me. Another scene that kind of stuck up to me, or another aspect, I should say, is going to be the elevator. So every time like that elevator dings, like the first time, it's like obviously the famous I've now got a machine gun, right? Or whatever the quote is.
Ho ho ho. I've got a machine gun now. Ho ho ho.
Right. And another time the elevator rings, right? And then it's like ends up being a shootout. Then another time the elevator rings, like it's like a fucking bomb in the elevator. Like it just progressively gets worse every time like something goes on that elevator. Yeah. And that's those are just kind of some takeaways I have on here, and I like it, man. For a 1988 movie, I have a hard time watching anything from 1988 and 2020, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, and this was actually fairly easy to sit through for me. So I know it wasn't that way for Nathaniel, but that kind of says a lot to me myself.
Man, this movie is 32 years old.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like that's difficult. Yeah.
That makes me feel old. Because to me, like this is a little off topic, but to me, 1988 doesn't seem that far away from when I was born. But then you put in perspective, someone who's born in 2010, that was like 22 years for them. So now, as a 10-year-old, 1988 must seem so far away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Nathaniel, what's going on over there, man? Can he hear us? Can we hear him?
He's good to go.
Nathaniel?
He's good.
I can't hear him.
Well, no, that's because he just walked away.
Oh, I see. Great. Ty,
think, Ty?
why don't you keep going then, Ty?
Yeah. No, this movie was made when Justin was born. In '88.
Well,
So hey, asshole, I'm pushing it. But no, I think it's really great. One of the best things I like about this movie is one of the things I talked about earlier was because it's an '80s movies. Like, you could tell the extras like don't give a shit. They're like actually like there because they're like you get the chance to be in the movie and they're like fuck yeah, not because like they want to make it big. So like they're getting like tossed around and like one lady like slips when they're actually first taking over the office and everything like that. And it's so much more real because people just didn't give a shit. It's the '80s. And you were just happy to be in a movie. You weren't looking to try and make $1 million. So like the extras, you could tell like they really want to be there. It's great. Alan Rickman's great. Bruce Willis is great. I really like Bruce Willis in this. I think this is kind of his one and only shot to be like an action hero. I think he did a lot of great stuff, but they were never making him or putting him in that like limelight of like Arnold Schwarzenegger or
Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone or like any of those guys. Seagal. So yeah, I think this was kind of his one claim to fame to being an action hero, and I think it's great, and I think he does awesome. It's definitely a Christmas movie. The vent scene is cringeworthy. I hate being in. I'm okay with like small spaces, but seeing somebody else in a small space where it doesn't look like they can move is very cringy to me.
Well, don't watch The Descent.
I know, that's why The Descent hits so hard, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's great. I love that movie. I think one really cool thing to take away from this is kind of like before you get into the big pop culture music songs being part of a score. And I think it's really cool because you actually get to hear things that are actually happening in the movie. You could tell that most of the music, apart from some of the Christmas carols and Christmas music, that it's actually, it's written by probably an actual composer. It was made specifically for this. There's instruments that are being used as sounds to create tension or some kind of jump scare or, somebody getting ready to die. The gore is really cool.
Different era of music and movies.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you had to rely on somebody that could do it.
Nathaniel's back. There we go. Nathaniel, do you have anything else you needed to say? I don't know where you left off.
No, I kind of picking up what Tyler was saying after from picking up where Tyler left off. There's a McTiernan, this 80s action style, it is a style. It is a genre in and of itself. The kind of a little bit what we were talking about earlier, the big budget action movies, they don't get made that much this often anymore. So, I'd love to see more of this stuff in the future. Maybe if more folks are budgeting their films to be put on streaming services or something like that, so that's going to open up the door for maybe more of this kind of style of things in the future. Maybe we'll see. I don't know, just trying to keep it positive over here, but it's an excellent example. It's a classic for a reason, and definitely go out and see it.
Yeah. Do we have any closing thoughts here? I mean, I don't know how much more there is to be said about this movie other than it's just great. I mean, it's hard to analyze an 80s action movie critically, but it's just something you kind of more enjoy.
Gotcha. And I was gonna say, let's go on record. Is this your favorite Christmas movie? Can anybody?
No, this will not.
No.
Elf still reigns supreme for me.
I don't know, man. The more that Nathaniel and I talked about it, the original Santa Claus with Tim Allen is something that like really
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid.
For me.
I really should rewatch that.
And I think that's one of those movies that makes me feel like a little kid around Christmas again, which is why I love it so much. But anyways, that's a little off topic. But yeah, I don't think this is number one for me.
Santa Claus is a great one. Home Alone, I think, is also my other big choice.
Home Alone's a good one too. That one I have seen.
I actually saw the on Sunday. I actually saw the Home Alone house because that's up there on the north side.
Oh, it is. Isn't it in Winnetka?
Yeah. So I actually saw that for the first time on Sunday.
Big fucking house, right? What was dad doing? All I'm saying. Supposed to be a middle class family. He's got like 13 kids and like he lives in a big ass fucking house.
Makes you wonder.
He's taking his family on a full like first class trip vacation to France.
Yeah, that's expensive.
And it's like the 80s.
Right.
The inequality in America, man, persisted even back in the 90s, I guess. Who knew?
That's right.
Who knew? All right, I think that'll end the spoiler segment here on Die Hard. Let's bring back and say hello to the viewers who decided to skip over the spoilers. Welcome. We are now going to we have missed you. I've missed you a ton. We are now going to be ranking Die Hard on Back Row Banter's entry list. For those of you who do not know, the entry list is Back Row Banter's official list of every movie we have reviewed, regardless of genre, all on one fantastic list. If you'd like to see this list, it is linked in the description below. You can find it on my Letterboxd. Let's toss it over to promo Curbside Ty.
Man, bitch.
This is a tough one.
This is a tough one. This is an odd one. This is an odd one.
Before I make my decision,
what'd you
Argyle,
say?
I said real quick before I make my decision. Argyle is a beast.
Argyle's the man. Argyle and
single-handedly saved the day, in my opinion. And then Ellis, if you're listening, you're a bag of shit.
Yeah, that's something I did want to say. Is Ellis, go fuck yourself. But
is Ellis the
he's the guy doing blow in the office, and then he's also the guy that like rats him out. He's like, "Come on, he's my friend." He's like, "No, they're gonna kill you, you asshole."
He's Hans Booby.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if we were talking about the dude from Ghostbusters, who's also in here, the mean man from Ghostbusters.
Oh, and also one really quick thing I want to say: the hair in this movie from the Germans. Oh man, Carl,
incredible. Carl,
those locks, man.
Another Ghostbusters reference. The brother in this is Hugo the Carpathian in Ghostbusters 2. So there you go. 2 Ghostbusters connections, folks.
It's a simulation.
Who would have thought?
Just connection networking, but okay.
I
find the simulation thing such a bitch out. Like, all right, Greg, get locked in for a rant here. The life is a simulation gag is so not funny and unoriginal at this point.
I love it. I say it so much off pod just
me too, dude.
Home to Nathaniel because I know it like makes
so boring
to like the core of him. So every time something happens, I'm just like, life is a simulation.
Now that I know this information about Nathaniel, it's game over, man.
Simulation. I'm smarter than everyone else. Yeah. No, you're not. The world's weird. Get fucking used to it.
Hey, man.
I feel like it's this generation's
I feel attacked.
What'd you say on that? You said it's this generation's. What did you say?
Fight Club.
I figured that's what you said, and I agree with that.
I can't.
I'm smarter than the system, bro. Can't catch this mind. It's always white dudes.
I can't disagree with that statement. All right, we got to put this thing on the entry.
Rant over. Sorry.
Where are you putting it, man?
I think I gotta go like right below Pan's Labyrinth. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I honestly think that I would this is hard. This is only getting harder, folks.
Oh, it will continue to get harder, man. Every single episode, it will get harder than the last.
I got like
depending on the movie, of course,
for like different numbers. So then I gotta like determine if it's better than that gatekeeper, and then I gotta determine if it's better than that gatekeeper.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like there's like 3 distinct areas we're starting to get into here, which is making it all the more fascinating.
Yeah, I honestly.
Okay, I think I've decided where I'm gonna put it. If you need some more time.
No, I think I'm gonna make a decision.
All right,
I think I'm gonna put it at 14.
Okay.
I think
so
great enough.
Below
something that's
below The Strangers, above Insidious.
Yeah, but I think The Strangers is just so fucking good for what it is, and I love to watch that movie on a critical aspect and on like a home invasion, like Halloween aspect, that I think that just kind of outdoes it a little bit more than what this does for me. But I still really appreciate what this does for me.
Okay, Nathaniel.
Man, that threw me off. If you want to circle back to me, because it sounded like you kind
All
of
right.
had an idea where you want to put it.
Well, I did, and then Tyler went. Because Tyler, I like where you put it, and I was looking at Halloween and Requiem, and I was thinking 12, but then you said 14, and I don't know where I would rank that.
I kind of agree with you there too. Like, I feel like Requiem and Die Hard have, for like 2 weeks in a row, been an example of both really good movies that are kind of sitting that middle ground between our gatekeeper movies. But
I think I'm going to stick with 12 there.
But at the same point, like, elevating Halloween and The Strangers into that same group makes a lot of sense for me too. So I'm fascinated by this, actually. So maybe I'll split the difference. I'll put it at 13. I'll put it right above The Strangers. But
I think I'll stick with it above Halloween 2018.
Okay.
At 12, so below Requiem for a Dream and above Halloween, right there at 12. Blake, I think you'll kind of settle this out here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys are in the right ballpark. I mean, if I'm looking at those, that 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 range, dude, I love The Descent. I don't even.
That's the thing.
I know you do.
It's Tenet. Tenet is really the one that keeps throwing me off in there.
Yeah,
bro. I think we put Tenet too high.
We definitely did. In hindsight,
I think we did.
Hindsight being 2020, we very much might have, but maybe that's something that we can address at a later date.
We might have to address it because it just feels like such an oddball. Every time
right? Because now it puts me in a predicament, right? When I'm looking at this.
Yeah, but I really want to rewatch.
I like The Descent much more than this movie, right? But then if I'm looking at it, it's like, okay, I can't say that Tenet is better than Die Hard. We destroyed Tenet. You know what I mean? We pretty much shit in that movie for a full episode. Yeah. So like it'd be very controversial
and then
to say that,
put it up more high than I think.
Yeah,
I really don't. Yeah, it was an odd one for me. We might have to address that at a later date.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'll put it at 15. So I'm gonna go behind Insidious.
Behind Insidious, above Tenet.
Yeah.
I think that puts us at 12, 13, 14, and 15, right?
Yeah. So I think the middle ground there would just be what, 13 or 14?
Yeah, between Strangers and Insidious, I think is kind of.
Yeah, let's do that.
So I'm content with that. I'm content with Between Strangers and Insidious, because those are great movies, of course. Yeah. So are sliding in at 14 then?
Yeah,
I win again. The Descent's not high enough, man. I feel like I say that every time. I think I might have said that to Nathaniel before.
Do we need to switch Descent and Tenet right now?
I think we save it. I think if we do it, we save it for later. Or
this might be something we address. I think it's too immediate right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think this,
because at the end of the day, we do control the entropy list. I can do whatever I want.
That's totally cool. I get that. If we're gonna do, I feel like if we change the list at any point, it's gonna defeat the purpose.
I agree, though. You have to have some.
So what I think we should do is maybe take like our top 20 and do a different episode on how we would put the top 20.
All right, we'll play with this off. We'll play with this off.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I don't think you can change it permanently. It'll defeat.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 14 is where it's slotted in there. Right below The Strangers and right above Insidious. That's a great spot for it. I'm content with that.
Also, in case anybody's wondering on IMDb, this is an 8.2.
I just Googled that too. That's crazy.
You know what has a higher IMDb than that though? Whiplash. I just had to say it. It was not relevant. I just wanted to say it.
Throwback to a side discussion we had this week about the new movie. I think it's called Sound of Metal. I think I've brought it up on pod before, but it's Riz Ahmed. He is a drummer in a heavy metal band that is going deaf. So if you're looking to do a combo with Whiplash and another one, apparently it's very good. But I'm very interested to see it. So I think we're
definitely probably gonna watch it this week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna have to. Have we decided what next week's is gonna be?
Yeah, I think we did.
At one point. I just don't remember what it was. I didn't write them down.
I think we did. Was it Wonder Woman? Was this week?
No, there's one in between.
I think that was a week after.
It's my choice because it was my birthday soon.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember what
Well,
it was. Joe's.
There was that 4 weeks, 3 days, 1 night, or something like that.
Yeah, but that's
We can save that one if you'd like.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
All right, why don't we just do a little post pod Adam? This is it's versatile. I hate to do it, but post pod Adam will come at you right now. Hello, listeners. It's your favorite host, Post Pod Adam here, coming at you with a little bit of an update here. Nathaniel decided after we finished recording the episode that we're going to go ahead and watch Tu Mamá También for next week's review. That's currently streaming on Netflix, and if you need to see how that's spelled, you can check the episode description. It says so down there, so you can go ahead and search that up yourself. But yeah, give it a watch, and then join us next week for our review. All right. Well, I'm very excited. Thank you for that choice, Nathaniel. I can't wait to watch.
You're welcome. Happy birthday to me.
Yeah, happy birthday to Nathaniel. All right, well, that's going to be it for episode 28 here. Please share the podcast. We would love to grow. We would absolutely love it, but we can't really do that without your help. But word of mouth is key for podcasts. So please share with a friend, a family member, a foreign invader who's taking you hostage, maybe one of his German sidekicks that has very nice hair.
An NYPD officer.
An NYPD officer. If you want to follow the show, please do so on Twitter at Banter Row. And I will say this really quick. If you want to get updates on episodes and stuff, because we did miss a week, not last week, but the week before that, and you want updates on what's going on and stuff, Twitter's the best place to do that. That's where I'll keep you informed because I typically run the Twitter. So please go ahead and follow there. That's at Banter Row again. Our Instagram is at Back Row Banter Pod. Our YouTube is just Back Row Banter. And then our email, if you want to send us any questions, comments, concerns, grievances, anything of the sort, is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. But BlakeHolder, if people don't want to find the podcast, where can they find you?
Letterboxd. So we'll be on there, logging our stuff, rating movies, things of that nature. You can go ahead and follow me on there. That's going to be at my name. That's going to be BlakeHolder. It's going to be the easiest way to reach me anything for the pod. In terms of the next gentleman we're going to have speak, I'll go popcorn and we'll go to Nathaniel today.
What up, folks? You can find me on Letterboxd and Twitter at NSGingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. You can find out my other podcast, which is spooky. It's called the Sandpiper Tapes. You can find it wherever you enjoy your sandpipering podcast tapes, mainly iTunes and Spotify. If you want to check out the Back Row Banter Pod Instagram, it's at that handle, Back Row Banter Pod. Haven't been on there in a little bit, but I'll be getting back there at some point, I'm sure. But yeah, Tyler, close us on out of this thing.
Hi guys, I'm Tyler. I'm gonna close us on out of this thing.
Hold on, man. I also have to go.
I know you do. You can find me on Twitch. Nathaniel and I both have Friday off, so I think this might be a good time to get a day stream in, and we'll probably start the Halo stream.
Ooh.
So maybe preview, like a hot little sizzle for you.
Bit of sizzle.
And then Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter are all the same. Sorry, I forgot to do my Twitch one. That's El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87, and then Instagram, Twitter, and Letterboxd are all Tyler Vidalis. That's VIDALES.
All right. And if you want to find me, I am on Twitter at @amschwartzy. Letterboxd is either the same thing or Aish. I need to figure this out, man. I'm gonna make a reminder to do it this week. I don't know what's what here. But on Twitch, I know that is twitch.tv/Aish. That's AYYSH as well. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for episode 28 here, guys. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next week with whatever Postpod Adam told you to watch. But yeah, we'll BRB.
Be excellent to each other, and we will BRB.
Just be grateful for what you got. Tell your family members you love them. Hopefully, Christmas will be great. I love Christmas. I love giving gifts. But yeah, BRB.
Yeah, everybody stay safe and enjoy the upcoming holidays, and be a caring person in the time of need these days. Life's too short sometimes, and that's about all I got to say. BRB.
that gnarly?
Where are we trying to
Yeah.
put in this Mandalorian segment before what we're watching?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. It's either before or
Adam.
after, I would imagine.
All right, let's do before.
Do you see it?
Dude, that's sick.
And that's so dope.
That is.
I think we should do it after, just because then it'll be a really good tie-in to what we're watching, because we're obviously all watching the Mando except for him. So I think that'll be a good tie-in after the fact.
So here's the thing. Like I said, I haven't seen the second episode yet. So like, might be a bit obvious if we do it after. Do you see what I'm saying?
Do whatever the fuck you want then.
Aggressive. I'm just trying to think of what I watched this week, and then we're good to go.
I'm too old for your bowl, Chip.
Yeah, you outrank me too much now too.
I did last time.
No, but now you outrank me even more. So it's a little different
now I salary outrank you. Do you know how weird it is not
to get paid
having not having to like clock in and out?
Yeah, that's
that's nice.
I used to like forget about it all the time, so it's like something that like I like it's still weird getting used to it because now I purposely don't have to do it. It's fucking weird.